All right, I'm about ready to make another batch of worm compost tea, so I'm going to show you how I do it. Filling up this 27-gallon bin just about here, actually, most of the way up with water. I'm going to let this dechlorinate for a day while I get the other components ready. All right, for the next step, I'm moving indoors. I'm filling up a smaller container with water, also to dechlorinate, but I'm indoors because I want to run an air bubbler to this one. The beneficial microbes I want to encourage growing are aerobic, that means with oxygen, as opposed to anaerobic without oxygen. So I need indoor, I need power, so I can run an air bubbler to this one. I'll show you that when I get there. All right, standard aquarium air pump. I did purchase one just for this, and I bought a little bit larger one. This is like for 60 gallons because I want lots of air. I bought big air stones. The more air that bubbles now dechlorinates the water faster, plus it's more oxygen in the water as I'm brewing my compost tea in here. All right, you can't make good worm compost tea without good worm compost. I make my own. I have one of these worm towers. I've had a few different versions over the years. They all work pretty well. I like that you have different layers. I don't want to disturb them because they're living organisms, but this is where I put my active food under here, and I bury the food under here, then the worms eat it. As this fills, I put a new one, so the further down is the more composted. I actually have plenty of finished worm compost that I made right here in this worm tower. So this is what we're gonna use. This is what I'm gonna use. This is nice homemade worm castings that I've made over the past, well, I don't know, year or so. Well, I've been using a lot, but this is just what I've saved up. We're gonna use a good handful of this. All right, my next step is I took the worm castings, I poured them into this mesh bag. It's like one of those gift bags. It's gonna work perfect for this. And this bucket right here is newer worm castings that I made. I just put it in different buckets. So I'm also gonna put some of that because who knows, maybe the microbiology is a little bit different or the nutrients are a little bit different. So I've got kind of a lot in here, but I have a big batch I'm doing. So I'll show you what I'm doing with that in a second. All right, here we are, next step. My dechlorinated water with the air bubbles running into it. I tied the bag of worm compost to like this bamboo, this fake stake thing to hold it in place right above my bubbler. I'm gonna just steep this now. That's really all that happens. The air is gonna help keep it an aerobic solution. Now remember, we're growing microorganisms. We can't increase the number of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium in there, but we can increase the number of microorganisms. There's lots of microorganisms in there, and that's what we want to breed and to multiply and to get amazing. So part of that is feeding them. They need to eat, microorganisms need to eat too, so they need to eat sugar. Most things, everything ultimately eats sugar, ATP, to make energy. So molasses is a good option, and you don't want to change the pH, so you want to make sure you use unsulfured. If it's not unsulfured, you can alter the pH, and pH can also kill off your microorganisms. So let me try to do this one-handed. I got this big old bottle off Amazon, I think. I don't know, a couple of tablespoons. That's probably enough. I don't mind going on the heavy side, because again, this is just going to feed our micronutrients. This little stir rod thing. And now this is basically it. I'm going to let this sit for 24 hours. Hopefully by then it'll get frothy and full of microbes and be able to benefit my plants in the garden. All right, it's been a day. I like seeing all this nice froth on there. It's suggestive that there's a lot of microbial life. Stuff looks good. I'm gonna move this outside to my bigger bin of water and dilute it. All right, now I just need to go use it. All right, a lot of my plants are flowering and fruiting, so I'm also going to include a bloom booster by Espoma. It is organic. I haven't had much experience with this, but it looks like good stuff. So I'm going to add a squirt to the worm compost tea, only for the beds that are fruiting and flowering right now. That's really all there is to it for the way I make my worm casting tea. It's good for my plants, it's good for the environment because it's all done at home, and it's rewarding, and it's a good thing to do. Do it for yourself.